Good morning, everyone. I want to show you some more wonderful dolls from the collection of Lily and Hamm and others that are coming up in our Dance of the Hours marquee auction catalog. We posted some videos last week of some of the really important dolls in the auction, the Mark, the 103, the Kewpie Mountain, and other great treasures. And then people said, I know, but now you've decided you're going to have it online and with absentee and live telephone bidding anyway, and I wanted that great feeling of walking in the auction room and seeing all of those dolls in one place, and I wanted that excitement, and I said, okay, then I'm going to bring it to you here. So we've arranged this other video. It certainly isn't every doll in the auction by a long shot, but I wanted you to have the sense of the fun of walking into that auction room and seeing all of these great ladies and kids and characters and bears all standing together waiting to see what will be, who are they going home with, where will be their new home. And so I'm going to kind of talk your way through them, and you can just turn my voice off and put on some wonderful classical music, which would be lovely, and watch the camera as it sweeps around and keeps it honing in on different dolls, their costumes, their faces, their expressions, and turn me off if you want. That'd be okay, I understand. But let's start over on the left, Humpty Dumpty Circus. And we have here the wonderful example of the Humpty Dumpty Circus with the tent, with the Schoenhood tent, which is so rare to find. Alfred Schoenhood was really tried to be authentic in having the garlands of nations' flags hanging from the tent. And if you're a Schoenhood collector, you know it's almost impossible to find the tents at all, and to find them with all of the flags intact, pretty remarkable. Crowning above the top of it, the American flag, of course. And down in the circus ring, we've arranged a plethora of wonderful animals from the Reduced Circus set. Now, a lot of collectors say, oh, they don't want the Reduced, they want the big size that he made to begin with. But I say, you know what? The Reduced are great because those little critters are so dainty that they're wonderful to put as little toys in your other doll arrangements as well. You can pick the animals and the clowns and all, or you can have this wonderful circus arrangement, which even has, by the way, the label on the front of the box, and so many of the rare characters and animals, and that is being sold as one lot in the catalog. There are many individual animals being sold as well, scattered throughout the catalog. Now, standing to the left of them, looking as though he'd kind of like to be looking into the circus, we have this wonderful Japanese boy with a cousin or brother standing right below him. And we definitely know they're boys, I can assure you of that. In the catalog, we show photographs of them naked and dressed so you can have the proof. What's more important is that they are the wonderful dolls known as Ishimatsu, and they have their fully articulated bodies, which loosely jointed. And it was a really important doll because it said that when Japan finally opened to the world in the mid-1800s and came to some of the world fairs in London and Paris and exhibited some of their dolls, the doll makers who came said, oh, look at that jointing on that doll. Why don't we just making these firm body dolls with bodies of wood, bodies of kid or bodies of cloth, and the children can't make them move around to make their limbs move or to pose them. That's a great idea. So that's where the whole idea of the French and German ball-jointed dolls came along. Very important dolls. And what I love about this pair is not only the great state of preservation of their bodies and their historical importance, but look at those facial expressions. They are absolutely great. Now, just to the left of the Japanese boy on top, are sampling from the half doll collection that we have in this auction. There are about 35 really rare half dolls and representing all sorts of wonderful characterizations, and you'll see more as we sweep around as we go along. One of the things I want to point out to you is the size of some of them. Some of them are the extremely rare, larger size, almost impossible to find. And always with the half dolls, you have to look at great details like jewelry, like what are they doing. In earlier years when people collected, all they cared about were the arms away from the body. No, now they want to know, how are the arms expressed? Where are they posed? What are they doing? Does the facial expression have great character to it? So you want to look at all of these things. And in fact, right to their left are other half dolls, one having the very rare sculpted cap, and modeled nude, and the other also nude, but with her original gilt lace bodice that someone had sewn for her so many, many decades ago. In front of them are standing a nice collection of what I would call Asian-influenced dolls, made in Germany or France. Now, let's say the girl in the pink is one of the rare Asian models made in German doll factories, and then skipping over 3 dolls to the taller girl, same thing, made in Germany to meet the fascination, the growing fascination with the entire Asian world. And also a lot of this brought on by the international world trade fairs, where Japanese people or Asian or Chinese people were coming to the fairs, and they wanted to have dolls that might appeal to them. Not only that, but the whole movement known as Japanese was passing through France, very, very popular at the time. People wanted everything that seemed to be influenced by Japanese culture, and so these dolls came along. The 2 little seated Chinese babies, definitely designed to be the Chinese babies, were made by Kestner, their 143 model. One of them, the wig version, and one, the very, very rare, the one on the shelf above him with the painted hair, which is very, very seldom ever found. These dolls seem to a great extent, have been commissioned. Well, I'm sure they were sold all over America, but a group of them were commissioned by Gumps in San Francisco, who had studios, much like, say, Au Nom Bleu in Paris, where they would make custom costumes for dolls. Neither of these are a Gump example, but an example of how important it was at the time. And then we have the little girl standing in the front of them, the little French bébé, and she's their little, like a little Russian or Eastern European counterpart, with her elaborate headdress, which she is wearing along with her folklore costume. Moving to the back rows there, we have a wonderful automaton holding a beautifully woven wicker basket, a really nice wicker basket. If you collect baskets and enjoy the work that goes into them, you'll like the work on this one. And when she's wound, she turns her head, she nods, and then she lifts the lid of the basket to reveal inside her little pet puppy that she's sharing for everyone to see. And anyone who owns a dog knows that particular pleasure. I don't know if you can see, but behind her, down just a bit, is a brown complexion Lunchy Doll. I showed this in one of my videos, so I don't care if you see too much of it now because I showed it in one of the earlier videos, but notable because of the wonderful hand-painted wooden jewelry that she's wearing around her neck. To the left of the automaton girl with a puppy is this wonderful French Sedan-Chair or coach. Now, around 1900, the whole concept of the Sedan-Chair became very popular as a decorative object in Paris, and we can find them made where people like to display them with French fashions. This is considerably earlier. This is early 1800s or late 1700s, and the workmanship on it is absolutely extraordinary and with wonderful hand-painted scenes. And to the left of that wonderful coach is an elegant Edwardian lady presented by the Galuba and Hoffmann firm of Germany. And so many collectors are looking to assemble the dolls that were made. They were generally tended to be nude, and then they were costumed by Galuba and Hoffmann to represent Edwardian ladies in different aspects of society with these very, very stylized wigs. And I've seen in collectors' homes where they've looked to get a group of them, and then they can make a wonderful little arrangement of the society ladies at tea. Next to her, we have another very, very fine half doll with the Shell Collection lamp base. Behind them, that shy-faced Steiner, my favorite model of the Steiner, with a very, very sweet shy face, and this one with a complexion patina that people just love. Well, I love. I just kind of assuming you all do. With a wonderful gleaming patina with a beautiful mauve costume on her. Behind her, we have a great assortment of dolls standing on the to the left of the big theater frame. We have 2 characters by SFBJ, including their rare 252 Pouty with wonderful, again, gleaming patina of bisque, wearing his navy cap and looking mighty fretful and worried. But they're centered by a German character who's a wonder. I wanted to make sure you saw her because of her wonderful size. And then down in front, Poulbeau. I love this Poulbeau. I have special reasons to love it. He was featured on the cover of one of our early catalogs, I believe in 1980. And he was purchased by Lillian Hamm at that time, and it's been in her collection ever since. He is exactly the way he was sold, and just that wonderful, wonderful, solemn face. And I'm not showing here now, but if you see in the catalog, you'll see we also are offering a wonderful poster from the illustration works of Poulbeau, a poster that was issued at the time asking people to support the poor war orphans of World War I, living in the Montmartre section of Paris, which was really just hundreds of children without parents living there trying to survive, and his children were representing such. To his right, we have a little group of two little wonderful googlies standing there, and to his left, we have two other wonderful googlies and a little miniature teddy. There are some wonderful miniature teddy bears throughout the auction. Now let's go back to the front again. We have to the left of the Chinese boy with painted hair is this wonderful lady with a sculpted bonnet and sculpted flowers, brown hair, beautiful costume. And I want you to remember her because a little bit later as we move along, we're going to see another bisque lady with sculpted bonnet, and you're going to be surprised if you hadn't realized what it was. Then we have in front of them, we have a wonderful brown complexioned girl in exotic costume in the front with beautiful exotic costume, gold beads, turban and all. We have a couple of great Kathy Cruz dolls. And to the right of the Kathy Cruz, we have this wonderful doll carriage with the cherubic angels dancing across the front. I realized when I was cataloging this, I said, hey, we sold one of these once before. Maybe Lillian bought it from us, and I looked up and found it. But the one we had before was a slightly smaller version, and it only had 4 women, I believe, dancing on the front. And here there are what? I think there are six women dancing across the front. Very, very wonderful carriage. And then a piece of Matrice furniture made in the style of the 17th century, made in France by a small studio in mid-20th century. Wonderful, wonderful pieces and great for display with your French fashions or small bébés. Now let's continue then. We'll go back to the back of the room again, right under the stage. And there is a bedroom set. We don't have too much furniture in our catalog these days because it's so hard to find wonderful pieces. But this set, this 2-piece set, I thought this deserves to be in the catalog. There is the high back bed, and there is the dresser. And both the bed and the dresser with its long mirror have these wonderful carved figural designs of a woman at the crest. Just beautifully, beautifully executed. And what I like are the choice of woods in making these, because you have the burled panels and insets, and then you have the darker wood framing them. So just very wonderful. In front of the dresser mirror is a dome in which there are 2 little not cupies, I'm sorry. So many of these were made as cupies. These are bylos. 2 little porcelain bylos posed reclining on their backs with their feet kicking, and this is kind of weird, but holes in the top of their head, but that was a good reason for that because they were designed as salt shakers, little Bilo salt shakers. A beautiful French bébé right in front of them with her wonderful period costume, and then a dome in which we have an all-bisque Bilo, and we have a Bonnie babe, and we have a wonderful little carriage being admired by a small French bébé. A great collection of small French bébés in this auction as well. And then in the back, staying there for one moment, I wanted to have her. We don't have too many of the really nice early dolls in this collection, but the ones we have, wow. And here's an example. Look at her height. It is getting increasingly rare to find these papier-mâché dolls in beautiful original condition. And here is one from the Lillian Hamm collection. Just look at her hairstyle. People who want to ever do a historical study of coiffures or hairstyle popular at the time could well do to start to collect dolls with sculpted hair, whether they're papier-mâché or bisque or porcelain, because they are very, very accurate in most cases. And alternatively, those of you who want to document different styles, if you're studying what different styles are, you can find them in the dolls. The dolls and the paper records are good complements to each other, and I know many people will decorate a doll room with early engravings of fashionable women and then put their doll next to it, and it's a great design. And then we move down in front and we have some other wonderful, usually I sort of keep the French and German apart, but I wanted to meld them in here. So you have, again, I wanted you to walk in here and pretend you're walking into the auction room, and I want that gasp that people have when they walk in and they immediately spread out and they all go to the ones they thought they were coming to look at, and then they say, well, wait a minute, what about that? I never saw, oh, I like that one, and it goes on from there. But here we have, kind of lurking in the background, she's down a little bit watching the smaller kids up high on a platform, is a gorgeous, gorgeous bébé by Schmidt et Fils in a wonderful antique costume. And then standing a little bit in front of them, we have a German boy in a very well-mannerly tailored woolen costume, and he's got medals all over him and a helmet that he's wearing, very, very handsome, painted-eyed boy, and he seems to be telling that beautifully costumed German closed-mouth doll next to him from the market, trying to capture the French market, trying to look like French bébés, but made in Germany. She seems to be looking at that little dress, or else he's trying to talk her into buying it. It's kind of hard to tell, but there it is. In front of them, one of my favorite dolls in the auction, this beautiful little Paris bébé, fabulous size, fabulous bisque, fabulous expression, and I think it is so extremely rare to find in this size. Moving in front of them, we have more from the little small category, little small K*R, a wonderful glass-eyed Gebrüder Heubach boy with a pouty face and great costume, and then another little, looks like Simon Halbig from here, I think, and a big-eyed, big blue-eyed closed-mouth Jumeau. And in front of them, staying right there, we have I think we showed it already, but let me just show you. I wanted you to see her sitting in front because this is such a rare size. I believe it's a largest size, rare largest size made of the Hilda. And people should realize these grand sizes, how difficult they were to make, because number one, they obviously were more expensive because the materials that went into the making of them were twice as much or 3 times as much as some of the smaller sizes, but also the fragility of them in making them. When they had a breakage on this, it was like breaking 4 times the funds that they would be receiving from selling 4 smaller dolls. So really, really rare, and that's why you find so few of them today. And she's made in this, wearing this wonderful antique costume.